Translation. My grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is famous, being recognized by all your devotees. Although harassed in many ways by his father Hiranyakashipu, he still remained faithful, taking shelter at your lotus feet. Please repeat after me. My dear grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is famous, being recognized by all your devotees. Although harassed in many ways by his father Hiranyakashipu, he still remained faithful, taking shelter at your lotus feet. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. A pure devotee like Prahlad Maharaj, although harassed circumstantially in many ways, never gives up the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to take shelter of anyone else. A pure devotee never complains against the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A vivid example is Prahlad Maharaj. Examining the life of Prahlad Maharaj, we can see how severely he was harassed by his own father Hiranyakashipu. Yet he did not divert his attention from the Lord, even to the smallest extent. Bali Maharaj, following in the footsteps of his grandfather Prahlad Maharaj, remained fixed in his devotion to the Lord, despite the Lord having punished him. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripar Sindhurbhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashtatyadi Sutarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. My grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is famous, being recognized by all your devotees. Although harassed in many ways by his father Hiranyakashipu, he still remained faithful, taking shelter at your lotus feet. So today is April Fool's Day. Somehow you have this fool sitting in front of you. I don't have any realizations on this subject matter, but on the orders of Nandan Prabhu, I will try and say something. Nandan Prabhu is very persistent, he gets the best out of all the devotees. But also like take all the blessings of all the senior devotees present, that I can say something for my own purification and something that may help you in your spiritual life or in your journey in Krishna consciousness. So in the Mahabharata, Dronacharya wanted to know who was the best archer. And he calls upon Yudhishthira Maharaj and he asks him, what do you see? He says, I see the bird, I see a tree, I see branches. Then he calls upon Duryodhana and he asks him, what do you see? And he says, I see the bird, I see the tree, I see the branches, I see the sky. And then he calls upon Arjuna and he asks him, what do you see? He says, I see the eye of the bird. He goes, no, what do you see? He said, I see the eye of the bird. He goes, you are qualified to shoot Arjuna. And Arjuna shot. So this arrow of determination and focus Arjuna fired. In our Krishna consciousness, we have to have that same spirit. We have to be determined. We have to be focused. Many harassments will come in our spiritual life, many challenges, many obstacles. But we have to remain fixed. Srila Prabhupada was in New Vrindavan on his Vyasa Puja, and his disciple asked him, he goes, if in this world, if we can go back to Krishna, why is Maya so strong? Prabhupada replied very nicely, because your purpose is not so strong. Because our determination, our priorities are not so focused on Krishna. He gave a very simple formula, the 4 Ds to success: desire, determination, devotion, discipline and devotion. The 4 Ds to success. There's a very nice story of a young lady who used to love writing. She used to love writing. As she grew up, she continued writing. And she visited many publishing companies to try print her book. But I think she visited 90 times. And on the 91st occasion, she visited the CEO of a publishing company and gave him the book. On the first glance, he wasn't so interested, but he took it home with him. He took it home, and his daughter came across that book. And she read it. And she said, Father, you must print this book. This is amazing. The father, and she persisted. So the father printed the book. And this book now is one of the most read books throughout the world. This book is Harry Potter. And the author J.K. Rowling. She had many challenges, many obstacles. She was working as a waitress. In her spare time, she would write and she would visit all these publishing companies and try to get the book printed. But she never gave up hope. She was determined. 4 Ds to success: desire, determination, discipline, devotion. She showed all of that. Today I want to discuss a few pastimes from our scriptures, how devotees have been harassed and how they've remained faithful at the lotus feet of the Lord. Srila Haridas Thakur is a Namacharya. He was absorbed in chanting the holy names of the Lord. He resided in Benapole, which now is Bangladesh, in a simple hut. And his glories were being spread through his simple living and through his absorption in his chanting of the holy names of the Lord. People were becoming very attracted to him. It's described that the administrator of Benapole was Ramachandra Khan. Very envious person. Seeing the glories of Haridas being spread, he became so envious, full of pride. He goes, I'm doing all this work. I should be glorified. Why him? So he disguised a plan to create his fall down. He called a prostitute and he arranged that if you enjoy with Haridas, I'll send my constable and he'll be arrested. So she said, no, there's no need to send the constable for now. Let me go and visit him, and then on the second visit, you can send him. So this prostitute went to the simple hut of Haridas Thakur. He was absorbed in chanting the holy names of the Lord. And she walked in, she paid her obeisances to Tulsi, and she stood there at the doorway, and Haridas is just absorbed. And these prostitutes, in the Namacharya book that Rupa Vilaspur was written, said the prostitute slowly sat down. And she sat down in different postures to incite him. But Haridas was fixed. He was fixed in his bhajan. So he asked her, what can I do for you? So this prostitute said, I would like to enjoy with you. Haridas said, I've taken a vow of chanting 300,000 names of the Lord daily. And when I finish that, then I'll be happy to do whatever you like. So he continued chanting, and she sat there, hearing the beautiful chanting of Haridas Thakur. This prostitute's beauty is described as out of this world. Sometimes we think, when we stand in front of a mirror, shaved our heads, or nice, hair, with beautiful tilak, with dhoti, kurta, chadar ironed, and we think, wow, we're beautiful. Don't we? Or similarly with the ladies, with their saris and the makeup and the perfume and doing their hair, and think, wow, we're also beautiful. I remember when I was young, it's about 14 years ago, I think I'm still young, but 14 years ago, I spent £20 on a haircut 14 years ago, every 8-9 days, just to look good. Just for that moment of pleasure when someone says to me, wow, you look good. I had a friend who became Miss Asia UK, very beautiful person. She's made millions of pounds today. She's very famous, actually. But that beauty doesn't last. That beauty for 10, 20, 30, 40. It's gone at 40, 50, 60. We look old and the body's wrinkled and we're like, we're ugly. And we have to come to terms with that. So this girl, my friend was so beautiful, but I was thinking that the real beauty is Krishna consciousness. It's within the heart. When we practice sincerely Krishna consciousness, beautiful things can happen in our lives. And we see Haridas was just absorbed in chanting. And this prostitute, she sat there and she listened. And come the morning, she left. And she reported back to Ramachandra Khan saying he's taken vows of chanting 300,000 names of the Lord. Once he finishes, he will enjoy with me. So this prostitute reported that to him, and she went back the next day. And Haridas again was just absorbed in chanting the holy names of the Lord. And she walked in, paid her obeisances to Tulsi, paid her obeisances to Haridas Thakur. And she softly started chanting, O Hari, O Hari, O Hari. And Haridas said to her, I'm really sorry, but I've taken a vow of chanting 10 million names of the Lord in a month, and I haven't finished. And I thought I was going to finish today, but I haven't finished. But tomorrow I will definitely finish, and I'll be very happy to enjoy with you. So this prostitute went back again to to Ramachandra Khan and reported to him. And Ramachandra Khan, hearing it, okay, so tomorrow's the day Haridas will create his fall down. So she went a little early the next day. She got there and Haridas was just absorbed in chanting. She walked in, she paid her obeisances to Tulsi, and she started chanting and hearing the sound vibrations of a pure devotee chanting the holy names of the Lord. Her heart was transformed. And to the point she revealed everything to Haridas Thakur. She said to him, Ramachandra Khan has disguised this plan to create your fall down. And Haridas said, yes, I know. I could have left on the first night, but I stayed back just to deliver you. And he goes, now go go home and dispose of all your belongings to the brahmanas and come back and reside in this simple hut and chant the holy names of the Lord. And she did that. And she attained perfection. But what we can learn from this pastime, that Haridas was absorbed in his bhajan. Similarly, in our lives, we may be harassed through pride, false ego, prestige, honor, fame. We may be harassed and bombarded by these harassments. But we have to remain fixed. We have to go deep into our bhajan. Bhajan doesn't mean just sitting down and playing cartels and singing, but it means to go deep and absorb ourselves. And we have to do that. And Srila Prabhupada has given us a very deep but profound process of hearing, chanting, reading his books, and devotional service. If we can go deep into this, and we have to believe in this, if we can go deep into this, the most beautiful transformations can take place in the heart. We can see, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, don't think you can see Krishna through your eyes. You can see Krishna through your ears. By hearing about Krishna and the glories of Krishna and the pastimes of the great devotees, our intelligence becomes very sharpened. By chanting the holy names of the Lord sincerely, we can develop that attraction. By reading Prabhupada's books, we can understand. And by absorbing ourselves in devotional service, we can relish Krishna. The most beautiful transformations will take place if we believe in this. We can see we have to develop this attraction for Krishna. That attraction of that blue boy who plays in Vrindavan on the banks of the Yamuna with the gopis and the cowherd boys, whose lotus-like eyes, whose bluish complexion skin is like the Shama clouds, whose reddish lips are like the bimba fruit, whose soft skin is like butter, whose black silky hair, who wears a peacock feather. That boy Krishna we have to become attracted to. And we can become attracted just by simply following this deep and profound process that Prabhupada has given us of hearing, chanting, reading his books, and serving. It's very deep. And the most beautiful transformations will take place. I was observing Rabindrapur the other day, seeing him perform Pujari service. Rabindra is a Pujari now. But I remember when he came at the age of 45 to Krishna consciousness. Now you imagine you've lived literally more than half of your life. You're fixed in certain habits. You're fixed in doing things in a certain way, and you like things to be done very meticulously because you've been doing it for such a long time. So I was observing in Rabindra, 5 years have gone. He came to Krishna consciousness, and then he decided to join the Brahmachari ashram. At 45, it's also very difficult to sleep on the floor with no bed, one locker. All your possessions have to fit in that locker. It's not easy. And then even more difficult than that is to live with devotees half of your age. Very difficult. Very difficult. And I've seen it over the whatever small years I've been in Krishna consciousness. It's very difficult. But he remained fixed in his service. He was absorbing himself in Krishna consciousness. And you can see in his life the most beautiful transformations have taken place. 5 years. He's performing Pujari service very nicely. He's hearing, he's chanting, and he's happy in Krishna consciousness. He's developing some attraction for Krishna. I was speaking to even Shivam on Sunday. I said to him, I remember he as a little boy, 10-year-old boy. Because you come on Sundays with your family, and you'll be on the landing upstairs and playing with your friends. But now he's grown into a young and responsible man, and he was taking Krishna consciousness very seriously. And I was thinking that, I asked him, why was he coming to the temple? I mean, your parents are devotees, but why were you coming? He goes, I was coming for chips. And I was like, wow, this is the power of prasadam. It's coming with chips. But you can see through Krishna consciousness, if we sincerely practice, the transformations are taking place in everyone's life. Shri Radha Gokulanand ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman, Shri Gonitai ki jai. The transformations are taking place in all of our lives. Srila Prabhupada has given us this deep and profound process, and if we sincerely practice this hearing and chanting and reading his books and serving, we will develop that attraction for Krishna. We will. And this beauty we cannot buy. This beauty we have to live the path of Krishna consciousness. And we can see if we go deep, we'll be able to overcome these harassments of the world. In the Mahabharata, when Duryodhana and Shakuni went to Indraprasth, they were very envious. They were jealous. Seeing the beauty of Indraprasth, they became extremely envious. It's described the gold and the celestial perfumes and the beauty of it all. It was amazing. It was out of this world, actually. Sometimes people, they spend thousands of pounds to go see the 7 wonders of the world. And they think, wow, this building is good. This is good. The Taj Mahal and the Egyptian pyramids and I don't know the rest, but people spend so much money to go see these buildings and think this is amazing. But the beauty of Indraprasth is mind-blowing. When I was reading the descriptions in the Mahabharata that Krishna Dharma Prabhu had written, it's beautiful. So he was very envious and very jealous that the Pandavas had this. So on his way back to Hastinapur, he set up a plan with Shakuni that through a dice match we can win all this wealth back. All this wealth we can win from the Pandavas. So they went to his father. As soon as they arrived in Hastinapur, they approached Dhritarashtra, and Shakuni said, look, let's have a dice match. Let's call the Pandavas, and just a gentle, friendly match. But Dhritarashtra, he wasn't convinced. But because he had so much attachment for Duryodhana, he wanted to please him. He said, okay, but let's check with Vidura. So they asked Vidura, they said, Vidura, what do you think? Vidura said, if you do this, then this will end in fighting. This is not dharma. Gambling is not dharma. But again, because of Duryodhana, because Dhritarashtra had so much attachment, he said, no, then please invite the Pandavas for this match. So the Pandavas, they came, and it's described that the hall that he specially built for this event was like, and it was built so quickly. Just to build a building, like the Goshala took us, 5 years. They built this, I forgot what it was called, Mahasabha. They built that very quickly. The resource allocation, the manpower they had was like, So they built it, and the dice match began. And very quickly and surely Pandavas started losing their wealth. But it's described in Krishna Dharma Prabhu's book that Yudhishthira Maharaj was always thinking of Krishna. Even though he was losing everything, he was thinking of Krishna. And he lost Draupadi. And he lost everything that he had. But he was always thinking of Krishna. So similarly in the life of a devotee, we may be harassed by so many things. But like Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas, they saw Krishna hand in everything. Also, we can see from that pastime that through each other's association and strength, the Pandavas came through everything, all the challenges in life, through each other's strength and association. So similarly in Krishna consciousness, we have to be eager for this association of devotees. Devotees are very rare and very special people, very mystical people actually. They're very, very powerful. And we have to be eager for that association of devotees. Prabhupada has built these beautiful temples all around the world. For what? So devotees come together, they hear, they chant, they associate with one another. So association is so important, because when we get bombarded by these harassments, if we don't have good association, we won't survive. We won't survive. Or we'll become very independent. So association is so, so important in our life, and we have to be eager for that. I was thinking, meditating on even in my own life, I was thinking that it's very easy to associate with juniors and peers. If we find it very easy because they cannot correct us or they can't say anything to us, we laugh and we joke and it's friendly. But when we associate with senior devotees who are senior to us, who can correct us, who can help us, that's when we're going deeper and relishing that association. Because peers and juniors, we generally cannot listen to or can't accept. And it's just a deep relationship. But we have to be eager for that senior association. And there's always someone senior to us. It doesn't have to be Prabhupada disciples, or it doesn't have to be sannyasis. If it is, great, it's the best. But there's always someone senior who can help us in our spiritual life. And we have to be in that spirit of the Pandavas, where they took that strength and that association from one another. And they overcame all challenges and harassments of this world. In this purport, in the translation, my grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is famous. Being recognized by all your devotees, although harassed in so many ways by Hiranyakashipu, he still remained faithful and fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord. So through this association, we can overcome all challenges and all obstacles. If we have that association, if we're eager for that association of devotees, we should always see the good in everyone. And there's so much we can learn from every devotee. So much. In my Krishna consciousness, I've learned so much from just observing devotees and the amazing qualities they exhibit. Prahlad Maharaj exhibited 26 qualities of a devotee. He was absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But he was harassed by his father Hiranyakashipu, tried to kill him in 5 different ways. Can you imagine your father trying to kill you in 5 different ways? It's inconceivable. I don't know what would happen if my father tried. But Prahlad was fixed. He was fixed. He had faith, and he saw Krishna everywhere in everything. And Hiranyakashipu, everyone was fearful of him. The demigods, wherever he walked, he created that fear in people. But he didn't create fear in Prahlad, because Prahlad was fearless. because he saw Krishna in everything and everywhere. In our Krishna consciousness, we have to have that same spirit. We have to have that spirit of fearlessness that Prahlad exhibited. We have to also go deep into prayers, because we'll be harassed and we have to take shelter of prayers. Prahlad pacified Lord Nrsingadev through beautiful prayers. So when we're harassed in so many ways, we have to go in front of the deities and simply beg. Beg for the mercy. We're no one. The soul's internal position is to be the servant of God. Jiva Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas. That's our position. Now Krishna, I'm being harassed and bombarded by these horrible qualities. And we can see him in Bali Maharaj's life even. Bali Maharaj was like the CEO of the whole world, and only his company existed. Like, can you imagine, like, everything was his? And this small dwarf Brahmana approached for 3 steps of land. And Bali Maharaj had a guru, Sukracharya, who was very materialistic. So on one side, he's saying, no, don't give any of this. If you give 3 steps of land, he will take everything. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Bali Maharaj, it's described, I think Hidayananda Goswami, he mentions in one class that I was hearing, he mentioned that Bali Maharaj, he had the tendencies, he had the mercy of Prahlad, and he had the tendencies of Hiranyakashipu. That desire for fame and all the wealth and power. But because of that mercy of Prahlad, he was able to give everything up. He was willing to give those 3 steps of land. Bali Maharaj exhibited great surrender. And in the process of surrender, we need the mercy of the devotees. We cannot just surrender everything ourselves. Just by the mercy of the devotees and the help of the devotees and through the guidance, we will be able to surrender our life to Krishna. One devotee came to me just a few days ago and he said, "Oh, do you think I should give Bhagavatam class?" And I was thinking, I'm not a good example of this because I don't give Bhagavatam classes in the temple. I give a few house programs, but I haven't given a Bhagavatam class. So I think you're asking the wrong person. But if you're asking my opinion, I said to him, you should give. I said, don't make the same mistakes I'm making in my life. If we can be in that spirit of surrendering or doing things we don't want to do early in our Krishna consciousness, that is very healthy. But if you become like me, who just says no to everything, and full of pride and, then you'll find it very hard. And after 10 years, you have to give a Bhagavatam class and the mind's just going, hey, But if we can be in that spirit, there's always that opportunity to surrender if we want. But we have to be eager to take that opportunity. So Krishna consciousness is a very special process. And by Prabhupada's mercy, we have that opportunity to surrender. He's given us full facility. Now we have to be eager to take that opportunity. So today we discussed different harassments and how we can, if we develop such nice qualities, how we can overcome these harassments of this world. We have to go deep into our bhajan, like Haridas Thakur did, through hearing, chanting, reading Prabhupada's books and serving. And through that process we will develop attraction for that boy Krishna in Vrindavan. And when these harassments bombard us, we can overcome them because we're doing it for a higher principle. We have that attraction for that boy Krishna. And we discussed, like, the Pandavas were harassed, but they remained fixed in the association of one another. They also saw Krishna's hand in everything. So as devotees, we have to have that spirit. We have to develop that mood that these challenges will come, but we have to see Krishna's hand in everything, and we have to be eager for that association. We can see Prahlad Maharaj, he was harassed in many ways also. But through his absorption in Krishna consciousness and through prayer, he overcame these harassments. And we can see Bali Maharaj, he gave up everything. And we have to be in that spirit. We have to take every opportunity to surrender. And through these wonderful processes and qualities we're endeavoring to develop, we will have the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. So I think it's 8:30. I was meant to speak about Lord Ram, but I think it's getting late. But I'll end with one final point, which is a devotee who very inspires me in my Krishna consciousness. When I see the harassments that Bhaktivedanta Mana went through, very difficult, and all the devotees put so much effort in trying to keep this temple open, and the sacrifices they made, and going out there on campaigns and protests, and they couldn't even sleep at night. It was just like, the sacrifices they made was amazing. And this devotee, Akhandari Prabhu, exhibited very deep surrender to Krishna. He was constantly endeavoring, was always thinking, how am I going to keep this temple alive? How am I going to keep it open? And I think it's 20 years since the whole campaign this year. And it was such a beautiful event in Parliament just a few weeks ago. And he gave a talk, and he described the whole campaign, and he was in tears. He was crying in front of all these dignitaries and Parliament members and devotees and guests and VIPs. He was in tears. And I realized that for him, he gave his whole life to keep this temple open. The endeavor, the surrender, the harassments of this world, he had to go through. But he did it because he had so much love for Radha Gokulananda, Sitaram, Lakshmana, Maharshi, Shikonitai. And we have to also, I was thinking that I have to develop the same spirit that Akhandari Prabhu developed, and he showed and he exhibited for those difficult moments in keeping Bhaktivedanta Mana open. I feel indebted and grateful of the sacrifices he's made. That's why I'm saying this point to all of you, that because of the mercy of devotees and the sacrifices of devotees, not just him, but there were many involved, that we have this opportunity. And now Bhaktivedanta Mana has become such a beautiful place, very recognized throughout the world. And we're here, we're living here, we're serving here. And that opportunity we have is amazing. So I just wanted to mention that point at the end. But thank you very much. I don't have many realizations on these subject matters, but I try to share something with all of you. Please bless me, and I can also develop this spirit of all these great devotees in the Bhagavatam, and that I can also be an instrument in the hands of the Lord. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.